Hello everyone and welcome back to the commerce element. Finally हम national income नाम की जर्नी के final पड़ाव पे आ गए and we are here with the last method to calculate national income, which is expenditure method. This method is also known as consumption and investment method as well as income disposable method. As you know, this can be helpful to you from MCQ viewpoint also. हमने प्रीवियस सेशंस में देखा था कि नेशनल इनकम को कैलकुलेट करने के लिए अलग अलग मेथड हमको अलग अलग नेशनल इनकम के एग्रीगेट पे लेके जाएंगे. एज ऑफ दैट, अगर हम एक्सपेंडिचर मेथड से नेशनल इनकम को कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो वी विल फर्स्ट अराइव एट जीडीपी एमपी. तो टू अराइव एट जीडीपी एमपी यू कैन क्लासिफाई एक्सपेंडिचर इनटू 4 different categories. The first one is private final consumption expenditure. Second, government final consumption expenditure. The third one is investment expenditure. And the fourth one is net exports. Let's try to understand each one of them. The first is private final consumption expenditure. Private word itself says that this is the expenditure that is done by households in the economy. Apart from household, the expenditure which is carried on by non-profit organizations या non-profit institutions will also be included in private final consumption expenditure. The second one is government final consumption expenditure. The word itself clarifies the meaning that this is the final expenditure that the government incurs for purchase of final goods and services. The third one is investment expenditure, which is also known as gross domestic capital formation, which includes the expenditure that the producers are doing in the economy. जो भी प्रोडक्शन सेक्टर के प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं वो जो भी एक्सपेंडिचर इकोनॉमी में इनकर करते हैं फॉर परचेज ऑफ फाइनल गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, दैट इज नोन एज इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर. As I told you, it is also known as gross domestic capital formation as well. Now, when we are trying to arrive at investment expenditure, we are supposed to consider 2 bifurcations for that. The first one is fixed investment. Fixed investment कौन करता है इकोनॉमी में? बिजनेस फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट, बिजनेस यूनिट्स जो फिक्स कैपिटल में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं वो. हाउसहोल्ड फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट, हाउसहोल्ड्स मतलब हम द जनरल पब्लिक जो भी हमारे घर शॉप्स उसको कंस्ट्रक्ट करवाते हैं तो वो कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन हाउस इज हाउसहोल्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर. गवर्नमेंट फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पब्लिक फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट. So all these fixed investment will be the part of fixed investment plus inventory investment. Economy में people do invest in inventory also. When we talk of inventory investment, we are trying to talk about change in stock. We know that change in stock is nothing but closing stock minus opening stock. So investment expenditure के 2 parts होते हैं, fixed investment and inventory investment. When we talk of GDCF, see these are some confusing words. GDCF will include GDFCF, gross domestic fixed capital formation and change in stock. अगर gross fixed capital formation बोला है, that means they are talking about only fixed investment. So अगर आपको ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक फिक्स कैपिटल फॉर्मेशन पे अराइव करना है तो आप ग्रॉस फिक्स्ड कैपिटल के इन्वेस्टमेंट को प्लस इन्वेंट्री इन्वेस्टमेंट दोनों को ऐड करोगे, देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू अराइव एट GDCF. डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज बिटवीन वर्ड्स एंड जब क्वेश्चन में आएगा दिस थिंग विल बी मोर क्लियर. And the last one is net exports. Net exports बोले तो exports minus imports, X minus M. So like this, to arrive at GDPMP, PFCF plus GFCF plus GDCF प्लस x माइनस m। 4 वेरिएंट्स, 4 कंपोनेंट्स को अगर आप ऐड करते हो तो आप एक्सपेंडिचर मेथड से जीडीपी एमपी पे अराइव करोगे। एंड देन फिर आपको नेशनल इनकम का कोई भी वेरिएंट पूछा है, वंस यू अराइव एट दिस, हम चक्र में बैठ के वी विल बी एबल टू अराइव एट एनी वेरिएंट दैट इज आस्क्ड। Now as you know, in previous methods also we discussed that किसी भी मेथड से आप नेशनल इनकम को कैलकुलेट करो, there are certain precautions that you need to take care. So same you have precautions here also while calculating national income. The first is intermediate expenditure not to be taken. हमको बचपन से पता है इंटरमीडिएट एक्सपेंडिचर, इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स हम कभी भी नेशनल इनकम में कंसीडर नहीं करते। सेकेंड वन इज एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन सेल और परचेज ऑफ सेकेंड हैंड गुड्स नॉट टू बी कंसीडर्ड या कैलकुलेटेड। ये भी हमको बचपन से पता है। जो हमको आज पता चलेगा दैट इज एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन शेयर्स एंड बॉन्ड्स। अगर कोई भी पर्सन इन एन इकोनॉमी शेयर्स, बॉन्ड्स या कोई भी सिक्योरिटी पे कोई एक्सपेंडिचर इनकर करता है, देन दैट एक्सपेंडिचर इज नॉट टू बी कंसीडर्ड व्हाइल कैलकुलेटिंग नेशनल इनकम। क्यों कंसीडर नहीं करेंगे उसको? रीजन इज वेरी क्लियर, बिकॉज इट इज जस्ट ट्रांसफर ऑफ मनी and not related to production of goods and services. When you purchase share, when you purchase any security, just money आपसे transfer होके वो company के पास चले जाते हैं, which has nothing to do with production of goods and services. And thus, whatever expenditure is incurred on shares, bonds or any securities will never be considered while calculating national income. ट्रांसफर पेमेंट बचपन से पता है कंसीडर नहीं होती। इम्प्यूटेड रेंट अगेन बचपन से पता है कंसीडर होता है। एंड सेल्फ यूज ऑफ ओन प्रोड्यूस्ड गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज थोड़ा थोड़ा तो पता है। जब हमने वैल्यू एडेड मेथड किया था उसमें भी हमने देखा था कि जब भी कभी हम सेल्फ कंजम्पशन करते हैं तो भले ना मैंने खुद ने कंज्यूम किया बट वो प्रोडक्शन तो हुआ था इकोनॉमी में, गुड्स एंड सर्विस तो प्रोड्यूस हुए। सो लाइक दैट अगर आप ही का ओन प्रोडक्शन के कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स या सर्विसेज सेल्फ कंजम्पशन के लिए यूज करते हो, देन दैट ऑल्सो विल बी कैलकुलेटेड, will be considered as a part of national income. So these are certain precautions. As you know, this can be a separate 3 or a 4 marker theory question as well. You may have question like that also. That statement will be given like expenditure on shares and bonds. Will it be considered while considering national income? While calculating national income? Say yes or no and justify your yes or no with valid reason. So like that, no, it will not be considered and the reason will be this. So these things will be helpful to you from theory point of view as a direct 3-4 marker question. Precautions लिखो, 3-4 marks घर लेके जाओ, या थोड़ा ट्विस्ट करके थोड़ा आपका प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज अगर उनको चेक करना है तो they may give such question statements and then ask whether you will consider it as a part of national income or not and give reason, give justification for your answer. So you will be able to score good marks out of this theory also. I hope the bifurcation of arriving at GDP MP is clear and these precautions are also clear to you. Now let's see इसमें से कैसे questions आते हैं. The question is asking you to find GDP MP and NI. When they say NI, it is nothing but NNP at FC. So always remember NI मतलब NNP FC. For that they have given you government final consumption expenditure, private final consumption expenditure, GDCF, gross domestic capital formation, net exports, net factor income from abroad, net indirect taxes, subsidy, change in stock and consumption of fixed capital. Based on these many items, you are supposed to find GDP, MP and NI. I am a bit on space saving mode, so I have written short forms. In your paper or your book, you will be having full forms of all of them. So don't get confused. We start with answer and start finding GDP MP, which is equals to private final consumption expenditure plus government final consumption expenditure plus gross domestic capital formation plus X minus M. Private final consumption expenditure, it is a second item, 3,500 plus government final consumption expenditure 4,000 plus gross domestic capital formation 1,100 plus, instead of X and M both, they have directly given net exports, which is 500. So like this, 3 and 4 and 4, 8, 9, 9,100. Will be your GDP MP. Now, based on GDP MP, we are supposed to arrive at NI, that is NNP FC. Our chakra will help you out. You remember from GDP, if you are supposed to reach to NDP, हम depreciation को minus करते थे. NDP से हमें नीचे आना हो NNP पे, तो हम NFIA को प्लस करते थे. इतने तक करेंगे तो हम GDP MP जो हमारे पास है वहां से we will be able to reach at NNP MP, because हमने MP वेरिएंट से चालू किया था. If we try this, we will reach MP variant. Now market price में से we are supposed to move to factor cost. मार्केट में आने के लिए टैक्सेस प्लस करते हैं, मार्केट में से फैक्ट्री में वापस जाने के लिए टैक्सेस को माइनस करेंगे. So based on that funda, you'll be able to crack NNP FC. If you are directly not much clear about directly reaching to NNP FC, from GDP MP you can arrive at NDP MP. Next step में NDP MP से you can arrive at NNP MP. And उसके भी next step में NNP MP में से you can arrive at NNP FC. If you are very clear, then only directly go with NNP FC. Otherwise, every step follow, that is fine. थोड़ा सा long हो जाएगा, but marks कट होने के, mistake होने के chances almost negligible हो जाएंगे. So NNP FC is equals to, we have GDP MP. If we do minus depreciation, we will reach here. In that, if we add NFIA, we will reach to NNP MP वाला वेरिएंट. उसमें से भी अगर आप टैक्सेस को हटा दो, NIT को माइनस कर दो, you will arrive at NNP FC. So GDP MP just now we calculated 9,100 minus depreciation, consumption of fixed capital, that is 120 plus NFIA, net factor income from abroad, it is 100 rupees minus NIT. See, they have given net indirect taxes 300 and subsidy 400 अलग से दिया है. When we talk of net indirect tax, we are talking about indirect tax minus subsidy. This 300 is a wholesome figure जो subsidy का 40 rupees भी include कर रहा है. And thus, because we have wholesome figure 300, हम ये subsidy के 40 rupees को ignore करेंगे. We will directly go with minus 300. So this will be 9,200 minus 420, and thus like that you will be able to arrive at 8,780 rupees as your NNPFC. I hope this is clear. Now come, let's try to crack this question. Question is asking you to calculate GDP MP and you are given with private consumption expenditure, government consumption expenditure, gross fixed capital formation, increase in stock, exports, imports and NIT. Now have you marked something? This is gross fixed capital formation. We want as of the formula gross domestic capital formation, not only fixed capital formation. So gross fixed capital formation plus increase in inventory. You remember? Gross domestic fixed capital formation plus change in stock will be equal to gross domestic capital formation. So दोनों अलग अलग दिया है, just the word domestic is missing from here and पूरा meaning change हो गया. So every time take care of each and every word very minutely. So both of this together will be our gross domestic capital formation GDCF. So let's now try crack the answer. We are supposed to calculate GDP MP, which equals to private final consumption expenditure plus government final consumption expenditure plus both of this together is GDCF plus GDCF plus net exports X minus M. Private final consumption expenditure 15,000 plus government consumption expenditure they've given 11,500 plus for GDCF they've given two items. So we will put the bracket and write 1,000 plus 200 plus X minus M. Exports 500 and imports 700. So 500 minus 700. It will be 15,000 plus 11,500. Open both the brackets. It will be 1,200 and minus 200. So 11 and 15, 26, 27, 500. Rupees 27,500 is our final answer. So like this, taking care of each and every word is very important. Your alertness is very important while you solve any question. For more such informative sessions, do subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you remain updated with every session. Until the next session, stay tuned and goodbye.